Hello. Welcome to this mini episode of the Authentic Man podcast with me, David Chambers. And today I'm going to be talking about an interesting topic, right? This is something that come up. One of our listeners, one of you wonderful people, got in contact with me and said, I'd love to hear your ideas and thoughts about something, right? So this episode is all about how to communicate authentically without being needy. One of the listeners, he asked me this question about how we can communicate when we're on dates, right? Without being needy. He's concerned and scared about coming off as being needy and shallow and, wanting too much by giving too much away. I guess the feeling I got from the question and like how to kind of, calibrate where the other person is at, and show how we feel without coming across needy, right? So my thoughts on this are that when you are authentically expressing yourself, right? Authentically dressed, authentically being, there's no neediness involved. It's almost to me not opposite ends of the spectrum, but there is like seeking approval at one side and needing that approval from people. And there's just authentically expressing who you are in any given moment of the day. Right now, you may gain approval from people by being authentic. This is something that, we've seen again and again is that, being authentic creates more attraction, co-creates attraction, creates more trust, more intimacy by being authentic. Right. But ultimately, when you are authentically expressing yourself, you don't need anything from anyone else. You're not wanting people to like you and care about you. You don't need them to. Right. So, I say want. I want you to enjoy this episode, right? But I'm not going to compromise saying what I think is right so that you like this episode. So I will speak my truth. I will speak authentically about what I think should be in this episode, not what I think you're going to like. And does that make sense, right? So often what happens is we go on dates, right? People go on dates and they're like, okay, I need this person to like me. I need this person to like me because they're amazing, they're beautiful, they're interesting, they're better than me. Often is where we're coming from, right? They're better than me. So if I do and say all these things, they're going to like me. They're going to want to spend more time with me. This is the assumption that we walk into dating a lot. I would say 99% of people dating, that is where they come from. From a point of view of if I tell you what you want to hear, then you're going to like me. Now, the problem with that is fast forward 5 years later, once you've been dating, you've got married, you've had children, there's this, you're still up this game. You're still just telling someone what they want to hear over saying who you are and what you want to say, right? And this is a very standard nice guy tactic. If you listen to the episode I did with Dr. Robert Glover, we talk about nice guys and how nice guys will say what they think other people will like so they get liked, but deep underneath, they're feeling resentment and anger of not being able to express themselves honestly and openly in who they are, right? So we'll go backwards, we'll fast backwards. Is that even a phrase? Being needy is about wanting and needing and seeking approval, right? And also avoiding judgment. There's a big part of being needy where you don't want someone to judge you badly, so you want them to like you, right? So that's the big thing that we play at, right? Avoiding judgment, right? So the problem when we get into being needy, right? We're not always aware. As soon as you're in this realm of there's a person in front of you and they must like me, right? And you start to compromise saying what's true for you and saying what they're going to like, you've really stumbling into a very gray area of like neediness, right? Because you're basically saying what they think of you is more important than what you think of yourself. And I say that again because that is an incredibly important part, right? You're telling yourself subconsciously and consciously saying to yourself, this person in front of me, their approval is more important than my own self-approval, right? And this sort of action erodes away your confidence, your self-confidence, because you're telling yourself that other people's opinion of you matter far more than your own opinion of yourself. And then you're going to start having a shitty opinion of yourself. That's the cyclical process that rolls in, right? So when you're authentically expressing yourself, right, you're just flowing with what's there, You're going to go on a date, for instance, and you might start talking about the beautiful flowers that are there, right? Or maybe you start talking about a trip that you've been on, because in that moment, the person mentions that they saw a program about what's it called? Some temples in Bagan, right? And you might start going, oh, you know what? I've been to Myanmar. It's a stunning country. You know, the temples of Bagan are beautiful and blah, 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 blah. Now, you're telling this story because that's what's true for you. That's what's there for you in the moment, right? But if you start straying into a place of, I'm going to tell her about all these other cool fucking things I've done, right? Because then they're going to like me more. You're stepping into needy behavior. So you're stepping into approval seeking and wanting to make someone like you, right? And I know this can be, it's not as clear cut as like two opposite ends of the spectrum, and there's a clear line between them, between the kind of straying into being needy and wanting approval and staying on the line of being authentic. There's a grey area, right? Like everything in life. If you want black and white things, go find another podcast where people lie to you. Because there's plenty of podcasts out there. There's plenty of coaches out there who will lie to you and tell you, yeah, everything's a yes or no or black and white. But it's a lie, right? So ultimately, like I said, when you're being authentic, you just flow with what's there, with the conversation. Maybe you talk about travel. Maybe you talk about plants. Maybe you talk about politics. Maybe you talk about sex. And you're just flowing with what's there. You're just authentically in the moment, present to yourself, this person in front of you, and the flow of energy between the two of you, right? And it might even be that you are directing, right? Authentically directing the conversation in a way that, you know, generates more enjoyment for yourself, maybe, right? Or for the two of you. But you are flowing that way. You're not needing that to happen, right? For everything, for you to be okay. Whereas neediness is where you're like, okay, I can't talk about these certain things because I need this person to like me. And if I talk about those things, they're not going to like me. They're going to think I'm a fool and so forth, right? And there's a lot of things wrong with that idea because there's a lot of assumptions of, you know, you think you know what people want and what they need. You know, I talk about this in a couple of my recent podcasts, is that we don't know what people want and need. So what I'm saying here more than anything is like, instead of always focusing on how can I make this person like me, right? Thinking this person, you know what the person in front of you wants and needs for them to like you. Focus on you showing up in the way that is true for you. It's like, okay, I'm going to be, you know, I'll give you an example today, and I put on this shirt. I really struggled with what I was going to wear. I was like, and then I thought, why? Oh, I'm trying to make it mean so much if I wear certain things and I look a certain way. So I just threw on this and started speaking. So it's like letting go of this need all the time for this result to go a certain way, and not even just go a certain way, for it to look a certain way, right? To become fixated on, if a date's gone well, that means that this person likes me and they will do these things and they will say those things and blah, blah, blah. Let go of that and be more with what's happening in the moment and give less meaning and validity to the end result. Because a lot of the time what we're doing is, we're saying, okay, if this person doesn't like me, then that means I'm a bad person. I'm a shit date. I'm a shit man. No one else is going to want to see me again and all these things, right? And this is really the basis of neediness. It's like, I need you to like me because maybe no one else will ever again, right? And we all know that's not true. There's plenty of fish in the sea, as they say, right? There really is. There's millions of people in the world. So if you start moving into a more relaxed, authentic way of being, you're going to find that actually people will gravitate you more towards you more because you're going to be more relaxed. You're going to be enjoying yourself more. You're going to be more free, and everybody wants to be around people that feel free, right? So if you're finding yourself going into dates and your whole focus is like, okay, they have to like me. This has to go well, right? You're straying into neediness. If you're going into a date and being like, well, I want to have a good time today. You know, whatever that looks like, let's see what happens, right? And maybe the person won't like you, and that's cool too, right? So that is a far healthier way to move into your dating life, a far healthier way to move through dates, right? And that will bring you towards the sort of connection that you're really looking for, the sort of authentic, open, honest connection you're looking for. That just rolled off pretty easily. Yeah, so I guess what else to say? Yeah, there's a few events coming up. I've got a load of events coming up. I've got events all about all sorts of things: tantra, sexual performance, foreplay, creating the spark, being authentic. That's probably one that, you know, if you're listening to this, is probably interesting. You know, being authentically attractive. I've got all these events coming up. So I'll put a link in the show notes below. Or if you're watching this on Instagram, there's a link in my bio. You can find all of those things there. Some great events coming up. And if being authentic is a struggle for you and you find yourself straying into neediness and you want some one-to-one help, right? This is the sort of work I've been doing for years with men, is helping them express themselves authentically without that fear and need to be liked, right? Get in contact with me through Instagram or email. You can get me on Instagram at @theauthenticman_. Or you can find me, get my email address, and that's hello@theauthenticman.net. Pop me an email and we can talk and we can see how I can help you. But until next week, people, ciao, ciao.